Someone built this. Someone chose every window, every stone, every view. And then they left. Not just this house. Thousands like it scattered across the world. Mansions worth millions, standing empty, untouched, waiting for a return that never comes. What happened here? Who lived behind these walls? And why would anyone walk away from all of this? Not every abandoned mansion was abandoned for the same reason. Some were lost slowly, a fortune eroding year after year, until the house became too expensive to keep and too painful to sell. Others disappeared almost overnight. One decision, one collapse, one phone call that changed everything, and a family that packed only what they could carry. A home like this can take years to build. It can take far less time to lose. Somewhere, an architect once stood exactly where you're looking now, imagining a life that did not yet exist. Every proportion was measured, every material was chosen for how it would age, how the light would fall across it, how it would feel beneath bare feet on a summer morning. Building a home like this is never a quick decision. It is a slow act of faith. Years of planning, years of labour, years of believing that this particular place, on this particular hill or coastline, deserved something extraordinary. That is what makes the silence now so strange. So much intention went into every detail, and intention, it turns out, is not the same as permanence. Wealth built these rooms, but wealth was never the whole story. Behind every marble floor was a person who believed this house would last forever. A staircase designed for children who would grow up running down it. A dining room built for gatherings that for a while actually happened. There was laughter here once. There was ambition. There was arrival. The unmistakable feeling of having made it. And then, quietly, there was distance. Fewer visits, longer silences. A door closed one evening, expected to open again soon. It never did. There is a particular psychology to building a home this large. It is rarely only about shelter. It is about proof. Proof to the world and sometimes proof to oneself that the years of effort meant something. A house like this becomes an extension of its owner. Its scale reflects their ambition. Its details reflect their taste. Walk through enough of these rooms and you begin to understand the person who built them almost as clearly as if they were standing beside you. Which is exactly why abandonment feels so personal. This was never just a building. It was a portrait of someone's idea of success, and portraits, when left alone long enough, begin to fade. Some of these homes hid stories their owners never wanted told. Divorces settled in silence, businesses that collapsed behind closed doors while the house outside still looked perfect. Dreams that simply stopped, for reasons no one left behind to explain. Abandoned estates like these exist on nearly every continent. Different countries, different decades, different families. But the feeling inside them is always strangely the same. Stillness, waiting. The particular weight of a room that used to matter to someone. To walk through a house like this is to walk through someone else's unfinished sentence. A coat still hanging by a doorway. A room clearly meant for a child who may never have moved in. A kitchen built for dinners that, in the end, were never cooked. There is no dramatic explanation waiting around the corner, only the quiet accumulation of small, ordinary choices that together added up to an ending. And perhaps that is what makes these places so difficult to look away from. They do not offer answers. They only offer the shape of a life, left exactly as it was the moment someone decided not to come back. Time is patient. Time does not need permission. It moves through paint until it peels, through wood until it warps, through glass until it finally quietly gives way, and for a while that is all a room feels like. Decline, loss, an ending. But look closer. Because underneath the dust, something else is happening. Time is not only erasing this house, it is revealing what it always was underneath the wealth and the polish. A shelter, a stage for real lives, a structure that despite everything, is still standing. Craftsmanship like this was never meant to disappear so easily. Hand-carved railings, stonework fitted without shortcuts, ceilings shaped by people who understood that no one would ever see their work up close and built it carefully anyway. That kind of care leaves a trace, even in ruin. It is the difference between a house that collapses and a house that simply waits. And so, even after years of neglect, something in these walls still holds. A quiet dignity that time has not managed to erase, no matter how hard it has tried. Then comes nature, and nature does not knock. A single vine along a windowsill. Grass breaking through a driveway built for cars that no longer exist. Roots finding their way beneath floors once considered untouchable. Fortunes can disappear in an instant. Nature reclaims what's left much more slowly. Patient, persistent, indifferent to how much this house once cost. There is something almost humbling about it. A forest does not care about marble. It only knows how to grow. And somehow, watching it grow here, in a place built to keep the world out, feels less like destruction. It feels like a kind of honesty. Every material used to build a home like this came from somewhere in the natural world to begin with. The stone was quarried from a hillside. The timber once stood as a forest of its own. In a strange way, nature is not invading this house. It is simply returning to something it always partly owned. That is perhaps why these images feel less like decay and more like balance. A reminder that every structure, however grand, exists on land that was never truly for sale, only borrowed for however long its owners were able to hold on to it. Silence changes a house. These rooms were built for sound, for music, for the particular noise of a family that filled every hallway without thinking twice about it. Now the loudest sound left is wind moving through a broken window, but silence is not empty, not really. Stand still long enough and you can almost hear it. Footsteps on a staircase no one climbs anymore. A door closing on what turned out to be the last ordinary evening anyone spent here. Some memories don't need people around to keep existing. They just need walls. This is perhaps why abandoned luxury homes hold such a strange fascination for so many of us. They are not frightening in the way ordinary ruins can be. They are beautiful even now, and that beauty paired with absence creates a feeling difficult to name. Curiosity, melancholy, a quiet kind of wonder. We're drawn to these places because they ask a question none of us can fully answer. What would it take for a life this complete to simply stop? And somewhere beneath that question is another, quieter one. Could it happen to any of us, in a different version of the same story? Every one of these homes holds a story that was never finished. A photograph still hanging, slightly crooked, in a hallway no one has walked through in years. A chandelier still waiting above a table that will never again be set. And here is the part that changes everything. These are not ancient ruins. This loss is recent. Some of the people who built these homes may still be alive somewhere, carrying the memory of a house they can no longer return to. Which means this story could belong to anyone. It could, under slightly different circumstances, have belonged to you. There is a particular kind of grief attached to a house, different from other kinds of loss. The house does not simply disappear, it remains standing, visible, holding its shape long after the life inside it has moved on. Somewhere, someone carries the memory of this exact staircase, this exact window, this exact view, and knows they may never stand in front of it again. That is the quiet tragedy hidden inside every one of these places. Not that they were lost all at once, but that they are still here, patiently outlasting the people who once called them home. And yet, history is rarely as final as it looks. What appears to be an ending is often only a pause. Beneath the decay, beneath the vines, beneath years of silence, the same bones remain, the same proportions, the same vision that made someone fall in love with this place in the first place. A house does not remember who built it. It only remembers how it was treated, and how it could still be treated if someone decided to look at it differently. Because somewhere between abandonment and memory, there is a third possibility. Not loss, not nostalgia, just potential, waiting quietly for someone to notice it again. There is a particular kind of beauty that only appears once perfection has faded, a beauty that has nothing to do with polish and everything to do with honesty. A cracked wall tells a truer story than a freshly painted